Hi, boys and girls. Miss Totsky here. Today, we're going to do Unit 7, Lesson 5. In this lesson, you are going to practice telling time to the hours and to the half hour. So our I can statement says, I can tell and write time in hours and half hours. Let's do a quick review. As you can see, we have an analog clock and we have a digital clock on the board. Let's talk about the analog clock. Remember, boys and girls, analog clocks have different parts. One part that the analog clock has is the hour hand. Another part is the minute hand. Some analog clocks have seconds hands. We're not going to talk about that today. And the last part of an analog clock is the face. So here, Miss Totsky has two different hands, a blue hand, and I have the red hand. Let's take a look here. So if I'm looking at the hands of the analog clock, remember, friends, my hour hand is short, right? My hour hand is the short hand. My minute hand, see if I can, there it is. My minute hand is the longer. So minute hand here, friends, would be the blue hand. The hour hand is that red shorter hand. Nice job. Now, as we continue to look, we have this word here called the face. Does anybody remember what the face of an analog clock is? You're right, boys and girls. The face is the numbers. It is the little hash marks here. And it's the white part. Some clocks are different colors, but in our clock, it's the white part. It's everything else besides the minute hand and the hour hand. All right, so we're going to move our label here to the other side. And our face will keep black. So our face of the clock is the rest. All right. Excellent. Now, our digital clock, the clock on the bottom here. We know that if we're looking at the beginning part before the colon, that tells us the hour that we are in. If we look after the colon, we find how many minutes have gone by. So first part is the hour, the second part is the minutes. Let's practice some time. Here we see an analog clock with the hands. Notice these hands are both black, so we have to think, Miss Totsky just talked to us about the hour hand being the short hand and the minute hand being the long hand. So as we look, we can see that the short hand is pointing right to the 9. And boys and girls, if it's pointing right to the 9, we know that it must be 9 o'clock, right? Because if it's not right to it, it's either before or after 9 o'clock. We can check. We can go look at the minute hand. The minute hand pointing straight up to the 12. So it says o'clock. So boys and girls, how we would read this is 9 o'clock. That's how we would read the time here. So we have the clock here that says 9 o'clock. It would look like this on the digital clock. And this is what the time, 9 o'clock, looks like on the analog clock. Let's try the next one. Oh, here, boys and girls, if we look at the hour, that short hand, is it pointing to the 10? No. Is it pointing to the 11? No, it is in between. And remember, friends, if it's in between two numbers, we need to go backwards, right? We need to go from here, it's in between. We need to go back to where it just touched. So we know it is 10. And now we need to look at our minute. The minute hand touches just a little bit, touches those numbers on our clock. Is it 10:06? No, you're right. It's 10:30. When that long hand is touching the 6, we know it is 30, right? Remember, boys and girls, when we look at minutes, we count by 5s. We start at the top. We go 0. Then we go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, and back to the top is 60. We know there's 60 minutes in 1 hour. Let's try the next one. You're right, boys and girls. It is 2 o'clock. You know this because the minute hand is pointing straight up. How about this one? Oh, yes, that hour hand is between. So if it's between here, friends, we have to go backwards. We would have 12. Now let's check out that minute hand. Oh, look at the minute hand down here, boys and girls, is pointing to the 6. So we know it is 12:30. You guys are doing great. Oh, challenge. We've got a challenge here, friends. Both hands are pointing straight up. They're pointing straight up. So if they're pointing straight up, we know that our hand is pointing to the 12. The minute hand pointing straight up, you've got it. It says o'clock. And on the digital clock, we see 2 zeros. 2 zeros. So today on your worksheet here today, you're going to see all kinds of clocks, just like the one you see here on the board. Your job is going to be to pick your own time. You get to choose. Maybe you want to do 4 o'clock. So you're going to draw a shorthand and you're going to draw a longhand. Now, does it have to be perfect? No. Do you need to have the arrow on the end? No. Do the best you can. You could try it. Okay? You could try it. Do the best you can. You draw your hands on the clock, and then you need to come down into the digital clock and write that same time. All right? Have fun with that. Pick your own. That is that first activity. Optional again today, boys and girls. Go on Think Central. You've been on Think Central before. Your login is the same, but you might need mom and dad to help you put in what state we're in, what our school is, okay? But once you do that and you save your school, from then on, you can log into Think Central just like you did at school on your iPad. All right? The next worksheet is called Tell the Time. Here, this time, you see the time on digital clocks. You need to then write the time using the hands, drawing the hands onto the clock. Same thing for springtime. Springtime, it shows you. Now be careful. Some are old clock and some of them are half an hour, 30 minutes. The last one to practice is the timeout basketball clocks, okay? So those 3 worksheets will help you practice drawing the hands of the clock. After that, Ms. Tetsky sent along clocks in a row. It's a game, okay? So this game, you want to keep this sheet. And what you're going to do, boys and girls, is you're going to get a piece of paper. Or maybe mom and dad have index cards or smaller cards, okay? It doesn't matter what size they are. And you're going to look at the clocks here. So, for example, up in the corner, it says 12:30. On that other paper, you're going to write that time, 12:30, and cut it out. Put it on a pile. Write the next time, 12 o'clock. Put it on the pile. Once you have created all your digital cards for this game, now you can play. It is called Clocks in a Row. And your goal is to pick a card. You're going to read the clock. Put a Skittle, M&M, whatever. Maybe it's a chocolate chip on that clock. And you're going to keep playing until one person gets 3 in a row. If you get 3 in a row, you're going to clear it off and you can play again. Okay? The last thing we're going to ask you to do today is try a couple more times, do a couple more minutes of math practice. All right.